Alright, so we are back now, still in the pause timer, but hopefully the audio issues were fixed. I guess for those of you, if you want to check the audio syncing, I'm at 29:02:01, 29 minutes in the pause time remaining, so hopefully that did fix the audio issues. I think it gets a little bit desynced sometimes when I try to change scenes, so Zach with the Haunting Guys did pick that up and still sitting onto the Giant's Belt instead of picking up his Sunfire Cape. So a little bit more damage from that Haunting Guys, and we'll hopefully be able to pick up the Sunfire decently soon. 22 seconds on that Dragon Timer. That Dragon Timer is so nice to have there. And team's actually not near the Dragon at all right now, so we will probably see a little bit of motion over towards the ball inside. Nami actually going for that Shirelia's Reverie out of the Kindle Gem and Philosopher's Stone. Thresh with the Kindle Gem of his own. I imagine that will also be a Shirelia's. He's probably not going to want a Zeke's with that team composition. Could potentially get it for Corki and Nocturne, but Shirelia's is just such a good item on basically every single support in every single team composition, against every single team composition. Just getting that extra move speed is so strong for pretty much every team. And we are back into the game. Pause timer is over. Ari should be banking a decent amount right now. Actually not banking too much. Caitlyn will be able to finish the Phantom Dancer. Probably pick up a pickaxe in addition to that if she wants to. Just going for the longsword. Not quite enough for a pickaxe. We'll be going for the Last Whisper next. And she actually does have a decent amount of armor to contend with. The Locket of the Iron Slurry doesn't go, doesn't give the armor aura, so not any AoE armor, but we do have the Zonias completed by Vladimir there, so that's some armor, and Nocturne with his own armor. She's going to want to get that Last Whisper as soon as possible. And of course, Thresh's Soul is giving him a good amount of armor. Dragon, of course, did respawn. We have an Oracles on both supports. Thresh has actually picked up a new one, so it's not about to expire. And there is the Paranoia coming in. Tidal Wave, good disengage, hitting 3. Corki focusing onto Zac, and there's the Cataclysm coming across. Nocturne is going to go down. Art Thief pretty low right now. Ari falls, and that's pretty much the most important thing there. And Drill chasing down now. Zac's going to fall also in those Bloblets, and that team fight is just so good. Corki, yeah, he was focusing on Zac. Yeah, he doesn't want to focus on Zac, but he wasn't hurt by anything at all. Nocturne driving forward and Jarvan cataclysming forward, and Jarvan cataclysming meant that everyone on the side of YetiBot was preoccupied dealing with Nocturne with Vladimir in the front, and Corki was just off to the side, just auto-attacking freely there. And they were able to get the kill onto I Am Onyu and get the kill onto Mr. Friend there. So 2 for 0 plus the Dragon going down over to YetiBot, or over to Nothing to Prove, excuse me. So they are looking good this game. And Corki banking 1700 now. I really want to see Sorcerer's Shoes. It's just, it's such a good idea. And Score did it in the Korean regional finals. I believe it was Score, where his build was, yeah, there's the Sorcerer's Shoes, so I will be able to get that extra damage from his missiles, from his Phosphorus Bomb. Corki just does a ton of magic damage, and the build that Score did was Trinity Force into Last Whisper into Sorc Shoes, but Trinity Force into BT into Sorc Shoes, pretty similar. And Gragas with the blasting one there, probably could be a Void Staff. We'll see what he decides to go for. And Ari's still not with the Death Cap. So much further behind where he was last game. Just not able to make his early game roaming help work out as well as he could with that Fizz with Teleport. And just not able to do too much. They capitalized on the fact that the flashes were down, but they didn't capitalize too much. Zeke's does not give an attack speed aura anymore. It gives, in Season 2 it gave attack speed, and now it gives AD and Lifesteal. So the attack speed aura, I think, was, alright, am I backwards on this? I'm pretty sure it's AD and Lifesteal now, and it used to be attack speed, but now I'm doubting myself. There's the bubble coming in onto T, gonna stop the Baron for a little bit. And Baron did get aggroed, so doing a little bit of damage there to people on the outside. And to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised that Jarvan, or not that Jarvan, that Zach went for the Haunting Guys instead of just going tankier. Haunting Guys is great on Zach when you're ahead, but Mr. Friend is pretty far behind right now. He had a really tough time in lane against Vladimir. So not the damage is, he's just so far behind the curve that the damage isn't going to help too much. And remember when he was tanking Corki in the last fight for that entire time, if he'd had a Sunfire, he could have tanked for a lot longer, and it might have helped his team significantly more. But Spirit Visage completed by both Jarvan and Zach. And again, they're both going for the selfish items. Still no Locker of the Iron Solari picked up, not even an Aegis. And Nami can't quite afford new Oracles, so just building a couple pink wards there. It's like even just a single pink ward on her right now. So when that Oracles expires, she might be able to buy a new one by then, but did pick up the Shirelias. That Shirelias is going to be pretty huge. It'll help them avoid a, it'll help them avoid an engage, it'll help them start an engage. But we'll see what effect it's able to have. Vladimir does have 3 items completed. Abyssal was finished earlier, I think, and with the Zanyas. Actually going for the Distortion Boots, so just going to decrease the cooldown on his healing ghost there. Not something you see too often on champions that aren't running teleport, but the decreased cooldown on the flash and ghost definitely going to help out a lot. So it does make a reasonable amount of sense there for him to be doing that. And there is the Void Staff completed on Gragas. Finally, Ahri has finished her Rabadon, so she's going to have a lot more damage this fight than she had last fight. And Jarvan's still not actually building towards that Lock of the Iron Solari. Is going to go for that Randuin's Omen probably out of those 2 cloth armors. So gonna be a while before they actually have that damage, that AoE damage reduction aura. Nami is pretty much the only person who can go for it if neither Zach nor Jarvan is going to. And there is the engage. Ahri Spirit rushing forward. Tidal Wave comes across, does hit Corki. That's pretty much the important part. But the damage onto Ahri there is just absolutely insane. Mr. Friend can go down almost immediately. Caitlyn does get the kill on the Thresh, but that's just the support. Flashes out. Gragas is still full HP, gonna body slam into 2. Barrel roll comes in, picks up the kill, double kill actually, and Ahri now being chased out. There's the Valkyrie forward. Ahri has to flash out. Rock is doing quite a bit of pain. Charm does hit, but Gragas is here. One barrel roll is, if one barrel roll is not dodged, that will be the end of Ahri, and that is going to be the end of Ahri. A 2 for 5 there. Nothing to prove. Doing so well. Should be able to pick up the Baron even after that fight. So Ahri used her Spirit Rush to engage that fight, and it started out really well for them. They landed the Tidal Wave onto Corki, but Zach is just not tanky enough. They don't have the AoE Magic Resist aura to be able to deal with Gragas. The amount of damage that Ahri took from that explosive cast was absolutely insane, and it relegated her to the back of the fight for the rest of the time. So Baron is going to go down, and all 5 members do get it because of the respawns of Thresh and Vladimir. Thresh even going to provide that Lantern. Nocturne can run away from Jarvan. And with that Baron buff, I don't really know what YetiBot is going to be able to do at this point. Last Whisper finished on Corki there. Last Whisper is on Caitlyn also, so both AD carries sitting at 3 items. And the kills for both teams are where they want them to be. Neither support with any kills. Both AD carries with a large number of kills. Both AP carries with a large number of kills. But Zach is just not tanky enough. Finally picked up that Chain Vest, so he'll be able to tank Corki for a little bit longer. But again, there's no Aegis of Legion. There's no Lock of the Iron Solari on Jarvan. And that without that magic resist aura, Gragas, again, he's just doing so much with that explosive cast. He has the Void Staff, so Gragas got the penetration before YetiBot was able to buy the resists. And as the offensive team, that's really what you want to have happen. You want to say, okay, well, I've already gotten the penetration, so even when you get the defense, I'm still going to be able to be doing a ton of damage to you. And that's exactly the position that that Ramon is in right now. So very, very happy about that. Picking up the Void Staff so soon. Has another Needle Steel on top of that, so he'll be able to pick up the Zanyas. Vladimir split pushing the top lane. Shirelia's from Nami a little bit wasted there. Bubble not gonna land. There was an EQ from Jarvan, but it wasn't quite enough. And again, Vladimir in the top lane pushing onto this inner turret. He'll be able to pick that up. Split push is, again, if no one can 1v1 you and your team can win 4 versus 4, then you should split push. And that's exactly what he's doing. The team can't really win 4 versus 5, but they can win 4 versus 4 for whomever goes top lane against Vladimir right now. And Vladimir can 1v1 anyone. And so this is a perfect situation to be split pushing in. Even though they have Baron, generally when you have Baron, you want to be pushing as 5. And there's actually the engaged tidal wave is going to hit only onto Nocturne. And the bubble is going to land Gabriel at the back, but Zac has to run away now. Double kill for Caitlyn so far, but Zac goes down. Gragas with the kill onto Caitlyn deep in the fight. And Gragas is still alive alongside Corki, and the 3 carries are the ones who are still alive. It was the jungler and support who fell, whereas the AD carry for YetiBot went down. So that is going to be the inhibitor. And Vladimir wasn't even in that fight. That fight was basically 4 versus 5. He didn't get a Haymill Plague down, and they were still able to win the fight. So very, very commanding fight there by Nothing to Prove. Jojo gonna go ahead and clear out some of the minions. The inhibitor will respawn about at exactly the time that Baron spawns. So when Baron comes back up, members of YetiBot are going to be drawn to the bot lane to prevent the inhibitor from going down for the second time. The respawn on inhibitors is 5 minutes, and Baron buff lasts for 4 minutes. It had about a minute and a half remaining when they got the inhibitor down. Has expired now. So actually, Baron will probably be up about 30 seconds before the inhibitor respawns. So a couple more waves of super creeps still, and that's really the important thing, is that you have super creeps pushing in the bot lane when Baron is back up. There's no teleport and no globals from anyone on the side of YetiBot. So they're not going to be able to send someone down there with a global, and whoever is down there playing super minions is actually just going to be kept there while Nothing to Prove is able to get a free Baron. So very nice inhibitor push there in the bot lane, and looks like we do have a DC, so probably we'll go into a pause timer. Hopefully it won't be too long. But yeah, so when Baron comes up, that'll be pretty much a free Baron for Nothing to Prove, and they'll be able to hold on to that lead. Rando's Omen already completed by Nocturne. We do have the component on Jarvan. He has picked up the Warden's Mail, but again, no Locket there, sorry. He has the Red Crystal, so might just sit on the Warden's Mail and then go for the Locket after that. But at this point, Gragas has 4 major items completed plus Sork Shoes. He can even just go for a purely defensive 6th item if he wants to, and he's going to be pretty unstoppable. Corki has the GA completed already. Vladimir has a GA completed. That's 2 GAs on 2 carry rolls that YetiBot is going to have to be able to push through before they can actually win a fight. Corki just has so much damage right now. Picked up Alacrity boots actually, so don't see that too often. But going for that extra move speed there. Thresh with the Merc Treads against the charm, against the aqua prison, against the traps, and a couple slows also. So he's going to be hard to lock down even as a support. And sitting at 78 souls right now. So not actually that far ahead on souls, given how far his team is ahead. He's at a reasonable place in terms of souls. But he has missed a few of them here and there, so not an insane amount of armor yet on Thresh. And we are into the resume. All of the inner turrets, except for the mid one, are down, so they could try to get that last middle turret. It would be pretty free. Baron has expired from everyone, but they're still strong enough that they can siege if they want. And it looks like that is what they want to do. With the Baron down, I'm a little surprised they're not going for any sort of split pushing, but Gragas, of course, did just recall, so he needs to rejoin the fight first before they can really make anything happen. Tidal Wave is available for Nami. Actually, all ults are available. Summer is missing from Zac and from Ahri. There's the Elastic Slingshot. Cataclysm comes in. Let's bounce. Tidal Wave goes across everyone. Nikki flew in the front. Bubble does not hit anyone. There's the box for a little bit of disengage. Corki with the kill. Fear Tether onto Mr. Friend. Get an Elastic Slingshot out. Last second, Zhonya is actually from Vladimir, and he's still not popped into his J. He is just sustaining so much from that transfusion. Fantastic survivability there by Drill, not even having to go into the GA. And with Nami, the last one alive, that is going to be GG. Barrel roll comes across, almost chunks her inside the well. Turret goes down. Neither of the Guardian Angels were popped that fight. Vladimir might actually go down to the turret. Now he's just gonna pull that one there. That was a great Zhonya's in that last fight from Drill. And despite the fact that Gragas wasn't there for a really long time, he got to the fight at the very end of it. It was a good engage from YetiBot, but nothing to prove, was just too far ahead. And nothing to prove really proved that they deserve to win that match. And they're going to move on to the quarterfinals. So don't go anywhere. We will be back shortly, and it will be the quarterfinals. Go4LOL Cup number 130. I'm Ryan Gold River. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Simon D. We collab, baby. Mr. Real Slow on a track. This song is dedicated. 그런 거 모르겠고. 아무튼. 오랜만에 나타나. 왜 내 남자 욕이야? 내가 뭐가 아까워? 난 네가 안타까워. 차버릴 땐 언제고? 다시 돌아오라고. 못 본 환호개발 아프다고 둘러대나 몰라 너도 솔직히 좋잖아 가스나 튕기기는 난 못 잊어서 나와놓고 내 입술 밀치기는 나랑 밤새 생각인가 봐 그 뚱뚱한 팩좀 봐 그런 생각하고 있다고 나랑 좀 데리고 가 셔럽은 무슨 셔럽과 참 까칠게 구네 네 남자 몰래 나랑 지금 놀아나는 주제 내 말 좀 더 들어줄래 뭔가 오해가 있는데 이러려고 온 게 아닌데
Who are you, Mr. Johnny?
Hey Mr. Johnny Johnny Hey Mr. Johnny Johnny 너 정도 남자는 많았대도 그냥 웃기만 하는 건 뭐야 건방진 말투와 What do I do 나도 모르게 한 번 더 쳐다봐 빠지지 마 저런 남자 여자를 맨날 울게 하는 남자 난 괜찮아 걱정 마라 재밌을 거야 You and I Oh baby you and I Oh you and I Hey Mr. Johnny Johnny Hey Mr. Johnny Johnny 자꾸만 더 끌려 나도 내가
Alright everyone, welcome back. We are into Champion Select of the quarterfinals, and we are actually going to be watching Exposure Gaming versus Deminisher and Friends. And in case you couldn't tell based on the team names, it is Exposure Game, or based on the player names, Deminisher and Friends is the red team over there with Deminisher in the first pick position, and Exposure going to be the left-hand blue team. And people asking about the playlist, I'll just link that real quick. Alright, so Vayne, Shen, and Thresh banned out here by Exposure, and Deminisher and Friends banning out Cassidy and Blitzcrank. Haven't gotten to see either of these two teams so far today, so definitely looking forward to seeing some new play styles. Should be a good match because both of these teams have gotten all the way to the quarterfinals. And just waiting on the last ban here. Thresh, we've seen some great Thresh play today. Zach not having too much success in the last game, but that was really just Vladimir doing so well in the top lane. And Zach ban's definitely still a reasonable thing, even on the 3.11 patch. Blitzcrank banned out there against the support from Exposure. And then Cassidy Cassidy's such a solid ban right now. He can really do so much for a team. His roaming is fantastic early on, and Cassidy can do a lot of the same things that we saw Fizz do in 2 games ago, I believe. So there's the Janna lock-in. Actually, interesting to see a Janna picked up this early. Janna and Graves is a strong bot lane. They have a lot of burst damage on Graves. Plus, you get the extra AD from the Janna shield on top of that, and Graves can really 100-0 a lot of people. But seeing a Janna picked this early is a little bit surprising. It will definitely cancel out hard engage and make it much harder for Exposure to go for a hard engage composition like that. We saw Janna being used as a counter pick to Fizz last night. I believe it was Ezreal Janna as the bot lane as a counter pick to the Fizz, and that worked out extremely well. And Zyra and Zed getting locked in there. Zyra sort of Zyra, Lulu, Janna, and Nami are like the disengaged supports, with Lulu being, I guess, the closest one of those to also being able to focus, also being able to function. There we go. Function is the word I wanted, as an engaged support with her wild growth on an initiator. But Zyra has her grasping roots, can be used for engage or disengage, but Stranglethorn's a much better disengaged tool than an engaged tool there. And there's the Ahri. Definitely look for Ahri to be trying to just one-shot Zyra. That's pretty much what Ahri is going to want to do frequently, is just try to ult in, one-shot Zyra, and ult off the Stranglethorns before the 2-second knockup happens. So Ahri is sort of the bane of Zyra's support. Zyra very every support pretty much is very fragile, and Ahri able to just one-shot Zyra and then get out because of the delay in the Stranglethorns. Against the support with more instantaneous crowd control, like Thresh with his Death Sentence, maybe Lulu with her Poly, it's much harder for Ahri to be able to get that assassination off. But against Zyra, everything that Zyra has either does not decrease damage or it comes after a delay. Her Grasping Roots is just a snare. It does not decrease any of the damage that's being output, and her ultimate is after the 2-second delay. So Zyra, not nearly as survivable against an assassin that's trying to just catch her out the way other supports are. So liking the Ahri pickup there. It is going to be Ashe Zyra as the bot lane. Ashe Zyra is one of the strongest bot lanes in the game right now. They have so much disengage, so much zone control. As soon as Ashe starts to actually get points in her volley, actually starts to be able to get that cooldown being decreased, then she starts doing just so well. And Zyra able to get more disengaged with the Grasping Roots. At level 6, if Ashe leads with an Enchanted Crystal Arrow, if Zyra leads with a Grasping Roots, the other one is certainly going to hit. And they can go for a nice engage there, especially if the jungler is coming down. It is actually a solo lane Elise there. Solo lanes Elise and Zed. So probably it will be Elise in the top lane, Zed in the mid lane. Solo lane Elise is something that we honestly don't see too often anymore. It's frequently played as that jungler, but Elise in the solo lane still very strong. Elise and Renekton are two of the best lane bullies in top lanes, so expect to see quite a bit of brawling there. And actually, Arthalon on To Be Determined, formerly FX Open, builds Elise just pure AP when he plays her. He's their mid lane player, but when he goes Elise, he still goes into the top lane, but his build is just pure assassin AP, and the amount of damage that he can output with that champion is absolutely insane. Because they have a Zed as their other solo laner and a Lee Sin as their jungler, Lee Sin will be building pretty tanky, probably Ancient Golem, Sightstone, and then a Locket just for as tanky as a build as he can. Probably he will be tanky, but not as tanky as another jungler might be able to get, and so we will want to see some tank on Elise.